Stop trying to fix a life that is meant to fall away. If you feel like you're losing everything right now, you actually might be just clearing space for a version of you that finally can handle the big dreams you've been chasing. As you can tell, it's your girl, Arena Danielle, back with another video. This is episode 5 of the Becoming Her series, Who is Arena Danielle? If you're into elevating your style, your spirit, and your space, then you are in the right place. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if that sounds like something that you are interested in. In today's episode 5, I'm going to be talking about ego death and how I experienced that on my spiritual journey and on my journey of becoming her. How important it is to have that ego death and to really come back into who you truly are, your true authentic self. And when it comes to having an ego death, to me, that reminds me of letting go of control. And a lot of people say you're edging God out. And a lot of times we think that we have so much control. We have control over certain things. But when you take God out of it and you think that, oh, I can control this, and you put things on pedestals and you're not sitting still enough to hear God's guidance. A lot of the times you can either make, decisions that if you just would have take some time to seek God's guidance, it could be such a big improvement on like the day-to-day, even the day-to-day choices that you make. And so on my journey, I had to learn that, let go of control. Being in control for me is a big thing. Like, I like to have structure. I like to have safety. I like to know what I'm doing. I like to really feel grounded in my day-to-day. As far as finance, I like to just feel safe and secure and knowing that I'm provided for. And a lot of the times we put a lot of our, energy on external sources instead of internal sources, which for me, that is God. And you get so busy, just worrying, being in survival mode and worrying about how you're going to get things done and, chasing this and chasing that you forget that, your source is God. On my journey is just going and being in survival mode. You tend to forget that where your true source comes from. That was one of my biggest lessons, that being stripped away of my job, which was my finances. I didn't get fired or anything like that, but God was giving me a strong nudge to quit, and I could not understand it. So end up quitting my job. Relationships was ending, friendships was ending, or just really having issues with sustaining relationships overall. And it wasn't necessarily all the time that things were just bad. It was just God trying to get my attention and to get me alone, to isolate, to be still, and to do the inner work that I needed to do, and could seek the main source, my main provider, where all of my abundance come from. I had to really sit still and to figure that out. And so in the isolation season, sometimes things get really, really tough when things are falling away, the jobs, the friends, and you just like, okay, what lesson is this? I'm supposed to be learning. But again, for me, the biggest lesson was my source and my provider all along was God. I don't have to be in survival mode. I don't have to be consistent being in this energy of chasing, and just sometimes being is enough, you know. And also there was times where I was like, ever since my spiritual awakening, it just seems like everything has been so hard. Like, at first, when my head was in the sand and I'm just going, about my life, and I wasn't as aware of things, even if they were seasons of just hardships or whatever the case may be, it just didn't seem so heightened. But after my spiritual journey, I was just like, dang, it seems like everything just started crumbling down. I'm like, just, is me going through this awakening? Is it punishment? No, it's not punishment. It was God refining me to be a better steward, um, strengthen my faith. Um, and during that season, when things got really tough and I was questioning, like, God, like, dang, ever since I awakened spiritually, things just got so hard, it seems like. And so it felt so lonely, but again, God had to isolate me. So it was this movie that I saw that reminded me of how important it is to just surrender to God, and surrender and trust and have faith that God will provide. You will always be where you need to be if you just trust and you have faith. I forgot the name, but throughout the whole entire movie, she was in the woods, and she was, something happened when she ended up there alone, and she was just trying to find her way back. And she was going through all these different things. And towards the end, she ended up in this river, and she was fighting against the current. She was just tussling, trying to hold on to everything, branches, whatever she could hold on to. And she finally just let go. And she just let the river just take her where it was going to take her. And at the end, she ended up on land with some people there to help her. And it was a big takeaway from that movie when I was watching it, that is it. That is the key, to just surrender, to just let go. Don't try. I don't have to chase. I don't have to try so hard. Whether it's with anything, whether it's my business or just anything that I'm trying to accomplish, just plant the seed and let it go, and trust and have faith that things are going to work out. And so that's what I had to learn. God was just refining me, pruning me into becoming the woman that I am today, to learn how to stop looking for external things to validate me, whether if it was my jobs, the relationships, the friendships, and that I didn't need anything external. Everything that I always needed was already within me. And God was always there, and God wanted to strip all those things away from me, so I could learn that I don't need to seek anything outside of myself and God. Anything that I wanted added to my life, all I had to do is be still and isolate and seek God's love first. And yeah, so sometimes when we get in these seasons of when we just don't know what to do, everything is falling away. It seems like everything is just, not working out. And then we're trying to step in and just fight and do everything and try to fix it, when God is on the back end, already hasn't worked everything out. All you have to do is just rest, do your part, rest and reflect, on what you've already done, and let go of control, surrender. And sometimes, again, for me, that was the hardest thing for me, because it's just like, if I don't see something's not working, I'm ready to just get up. I'm ready to fix it, whether if it's in business, whether if it's in my own life. I'm just like, I gotta fix it, being a mom, everything. It's just like, I have really had to learn, like, okay, well, I've planted the seed. Whether if it's being a mom, you didn't. I've given you the tools. Now it's just up to you to where how you're going to utilize those tools and just let go instead of trying to hold on so tightly and direct everything. So as far as business, the same thing. Something may not be working out with the sales and maybe not coming in. And knowing that long as you're putting the work in, you're showing up, you're doing, you know what I'm saying, you're actively working on things to better yourself, step back and let God take care of the rest. God knows your heart. God knows what your heart desires. So surrendering and letting go of control is very, very important. And again, I'm recently in the season of where I was just getting frustrated. I'm like, dang, or just, I think that happens throughout the spiritual journey where you're just like, dang, like the movie when she was going down the river, she's just fighting the currents and just trying to grab onto the branches. And that's kind of what we do in our lives. We're just trying to figure out another way. This ain't working. Well, let's just go to plan B and try something else. And sometimes that's okay, but sometimes it also is good to just take a step back and allow and give God some space in your life to work things out for you, because ultimately God has our best interests at heart and knows best. And so in my life, when I was trying to make the choices, I'm trying to figure it out. I had to learn that real quick. Like, all right, God, you got it. Jesus, take the wheel. You are in control. Obviously, I don't know what I'm doing. You got it. And so I created the space to let God take the wheel, literally, and say, what, God, what are we doing today? And let God be the head. And I'm following the lead and just paying attention and just creating a space again to sit still, to listen to God's direction, and to follow God's instructions instead of all the time just being in survival mode and trying to figure everything out by myself without God. So whatever you do, take God along your journey and everything will fall into place. While it is important to put your faith in God, but faith without works is dead. So I continue to plant my seeds, put in the actions, put in the work, and then once I do all the things that I feel like that I do have control with, I rest, I reset, I reflect, take those days off to just, flow. And that was a used to be a very difficult part for me, to just like, oh, I'm just going to just lean back and trust that God is going to provide all of my needs, and we always have everything that we need. One of the biggest takeaways from the lessons that I learned, that God was just stripping everything away from me, the job, the fake things that, the fake security, the things that I, focused on, all of the external things. All those things was just stripped away. The things that I felt like was giving me a false sense of security and stability. All those things was just stripped away. Everything fell away, so I didn't have no choice but to look towards God, that and know that that is my real true source, and God is my provider, God is my security, God is my safety. And I realized that, I have known that all along, but it was just a real eye opener to when you kind of lose yourself into just being in survival mode and just going, you tend to edge God out and forget that that is your source. You can relax and let go of control and allow God to be God. What are some things that you're dealing with in your season? Is it learning how to surrender, letting go of control, having more faith? Let me know down in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you all have to say or what you all have to going on. I would love to connect with you all. Let me know what you are experiencing in your season. And so go ahead and subscribe so you'll be notified every time I upload a video, and join the Arena Danielle community. And as always, remember, your style deserves intention, your space deserves beauty, and your spirit deserves peace. See y'all on the next video. Bye.